There are several ways you can play these chords. You can pluck them all with your fingers, or you can strum them with a pick. It might be difficult to slap all three at the same time, but it can be done. A lot of bass players will slap the lowest note of a chord, then pop the remaining notes. This is sometimes called slap pop, or slapping and popping. For the C chord, slap the C note with your thumb. That's a note on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Then pop the E on the 2nd fret, 2nd string. Then pop the G on the 1st string open. You can also slap the C note with your thumb, then pop the E and G at the same time using both the index finger and middle finger. We will explore several techniques and applications on this video that can be used with the slapping and popping techniques. The double note patterns later in this course are perfect for this technique. Once a chord is established, you can enhance your bass lines by exploring the rest of the scale notes. The next few chapters will give you plenty of ideas for adding to your bass lines. The most simple way to create a bass guitar solo is to use the scale notes only. Remember, scales are the foundation of music. We use scales to structure every audible part of a song, the melody, harmony, and the chords. In this section, we will learn some scale applications to be used with each scale position that you've learned. Rather than playing a scale ascending or descending from string to string, applications give you different melody patterns that keep the scale and your bass guitar playing interesting. These will greatly enhance your playing and writing ability. Listen for these applications when you are listening to your favorite songs. You will find that they are not just applied to the bass guitar. You will hear them in piano, voice, guitar, as well as many other musical instruments. Here we will break our scale into patterns of 2. So rather than playing the scale position straight through, we will begin with the first scale note, then play the second. Next, begin again on the second scale note and end on the third scale note. Play the third, then end on the fourth. Fourth note, fifth note, fifth note, sixth, and on through the scale. So your pattern is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. We are going to apply increments of 2 to the open E or third scale position. Allow each note to ring out for a full count. This application is written in 2/4 timing. There are 2 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here it is applied to the open E or third scale position of the C major A minor scale at a slow pace of 80 BPM. Without the use of sheet music, test your memory and try to play this pattern descending. Here it is a little bit faster at 160 BPM. I highly recommend that you apply this in all applications to every scale position that you've learned. Here we break the scale into patterns of 3. Begin with the first, then second scale note, end on the third. Begin again on the second scale note, then third, end on the fourth. Start on the third, then fourth, end on the fifth. Fourth, fifth, end on the sixth. So your pattern altogether is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and on through the scale. Allow each note to ring out for a full count. This application is written in 3/4 timing. There are 3 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here it is applied to the F or 4th scale position of the C major A minor scale at a slow pace of 85 BPM and double time at 170 BPM. Without the use of sheet music, test your memory and try to play this pattern descending. For the 2 strings application, we're going to be playing 3 scale notes on each string of any scale position, breaking the scale into patterns of 2 strings. So, starting on the 4th string, we play notes 1, 2, and 3, followed by the 3rd string notes 4, 5, and 6. Then we repeat the 3rd string notes 4, 5, and 6, then add the notes on the 2nd string. So your pattern is notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This application is written in 3/4 timing using 1/8 notes. There are 3 beats per measure. An 1/8 note receives half a beat, so the count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Here it is applied to the 5th scale position at a slow pace of 60 BPM, then 120 BPM. These applications are written out for you to get comfortable playing them on every string of your bass guitar. However, you probably will not use every string in a song because it would sound monotonous. The best way to use these applications is by mixing them up with others, or mixing them in with chords or lead phrases. For example, you might get an interesting sounding riff by mixing increments of 2, then 3 strings. Here we're going to play the 4th string notes, followed by the 3rd string notes, and back 1 note. Then repeat the 3rd string notes and the 2nd string notes, and back 1 note. 2nd and 1st string notes, and back 1 note. This application is written in 4/4 timing using 1/8 notes and quarter notes. There are 4 beats per measure. An 1/8 note receives half a beat. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Playing 3 scale notes on each string of any scale position, break the scale into patterns of 3 strings, 9 scale notes total, starting with the 4th string, 3rd, 2nd string. Then we repeat the notes on the 3rd string, 2nd, and 4th. And then we descend. This application is written in 3/4 timing using triplets. Triplets are 1/8 notes written in groups of 3. A triplet receives 1/3 of a beat. The count is 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. Applied to the 7th scale position at a slow pace of 40 BPM, then a little bit faster at 80 BPM. This application has us playing the notes on 3 strings and then descending 4 notes. We begin again on the 3rd string and descend 4 notes. You can also play it in reverse. This application is written in 4/4 timing using 16th notes, triplets, and 1/8 notes. A 16th note receives 1/4 of a beat. A triplet receives 1/3 of a beat. An 1/8 note receives half a beat. The count is 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 E and a, 4 and. 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 E and a, 4 and. Applied to the C or 1st scale position at a slow pace of 40 BPM, then 80 BPM. To incorporate rhythm, this pattern was written out mixing 16th, triplet, and 8th notes. This and any scale pattern or application can easily be applied to a straight duration. For example, here is the descending pattern played with straight 16th notes. Please take time and explore different rhythms with your favorite scale positions and applications. Breaking the scale into patterns of 4, we begin with the 4th string notes 1, 2, and 3, and on the 3rd string, note 4. Notes 2 and 3 on the 4th string, then notes 4 and 5 on the 3rd string. The 3rd scale note on the 4th string, then notes 4, 5, and 6 on the 3rd string. The pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. This application is written in 4/4 timing using quarter notes. The quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Applied to the D or 2nd scale position of the C major scale, first at a slow pace of 130 BPM with quarter notes, then double time at 130 BPM with 8th notes. To play the last application with 8th notes, each note would receive half a beat. The count would now be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Here it is ascending and descending at a pace of 130 BPM. To play increments of 4 using 16th notes, each note would receive a quarter of 1 beat. The count would be 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. To play increments of 4 in 3/4 timing, you could play any combination of 2 quarter notes and 2 8th notes. Using 2 quarter notes followed by 2 8th notes, the count would be 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and. Here it is descending at a pace of 130 BPM. Using 1 quarter note, followed by 2 8th notes, followed by another quarter note, the count would be 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Here it is ascending and descending at 130 BPM. Feel free to pause this video and explore different rhythms by applying any timing to any note or group of notes, and be sure to experiment with different timings on all applications. This application is increments of 4 and back 1 note. The pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, This is written in 4/4 timing using quarter notes and eighth notes. A quarter note receives 1 beat, an eighth note receives half a beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, and. 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 Here it is descending at double speed, 200 BPM. Instead of using eighth notes at the end of each measure, the entire piece is played with quarter notes in 5/4 timing using 5 full beats per measure. For the step-down application, we're playing in the E or third scale position. However, we're starting with the second scale note, followed by the first, then the third scale note, followed by the second, fourth, then third, fifth, then fourth, sixth, then fifth, and on through the pattern. This application is written in 2/4 timing using quarter notes. There are 2 beats per measure, and a quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The opposite of the step down application is step up. So here you'll play your 7th scale note, and then the 8th, 6th, then 7th, 5th, then 6th, 4th, then 5th, and on through the scale. This application is written in 4/4 timing using eighth notes. An eighth note receives half a beat. The count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Played at 120. Earlier in this section, I suggested that you try playing these applications with different rhythms. Here are some basic principles to help you further explore timing. This chart below will show you the breakdown of the notes from whole to 16th notes in 4/4 timing. A whole note receives 4 beats per measure, so you would play the note counting 1, 2, 3, 4. A half note equals 2 beats, so you would play the note for 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes receive 1 beat each, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes are split into half a beat, so we add the and pulse in between each number count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 16th notes break each note into 4 pulses, so now our timing will be 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. I'll play the rhythm on this chart using the open G for the first string. In 4/4 timing, a rhythm can use any combination of note types as long as the total count equals 4 complete beats. The following are some examples of rhythm combinations using half and quarter notes. Notice that each measure equals 4 beats. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, quarter, quarter, so the first note is held the longest. Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. 1, 2. Play a quarter note for the 3 count. Play a quarter note for the 4 count. The total beats equals 4. You can repeat this rhythm over and over again. It can be applied to a single note, scale notes, scale applications, chords, and so on. Here is rhythm 1 applied to an open E. Rhythm 2 is the combination of quarter, half, quarter. The second note is held the longest. Hold the quarter note for count 1, half note for counts 2 and 3. Hold a quarter note for the 4 count. Here is rhythm 2 applied to the notes E, F, and G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Rhythm 3 is the combination of 2 quarter notes followed by a half note. The third note is held the longest. Hold the quarter note for beat 1, hold a quarter note for beat 2, hold the half note for beats 3 and 4. Total beats equals 4. Here is rhythm 3 applied to notes A, G, and F. Eighth notes equal half a beat, so each count needs to be separated into 2 pulses. Instead of using a basic count, 1, 2, 3, 4, eighth notes are counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, quarter, eighth, eighth. Because the 4th beat consists of 2 eighth notes, it needs to be split into 2 accents. Instead of counting the 4th beat as 4, you need to count it as 4 and. Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. Play a quarter note for the 3 count, play an eighth note for 4, and play an eighth note for and. Total beats still equals 4. Here's rhythm 1 applied to increments of 4 in the A or 6th position. Rhythm 2 is the combination of quarter, half, eighth, eighth. Again, the 4 count is split into 2 accents to accommodate the 2 eighth notes. Hold the quarter note for count 1. Hold the half note for counts 2 and 3. Hold an eighth note for the 4. Hold an eighth note for and. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Here is rhythm 2 applied to increments of 4 in the B or 7th position. Rhythm 3 is the combination of quarter, eighth, eighth, half. There are 2 eighth notes in the space of the 2 count, so it is split into 2 accents, 2 and. Hold the quarter note for the 1 count, an 1/8 note for 2, an 1/8 note for and hold the half note for the 3 beat and the 4 beat. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Here is rhythm 3 applied to increments of 4 in the C or first position. This rhythm example uses half, quarter, 1/8, and 1/16 notes. 1/16 notes equal a quarter of a beat, so each count needs to be separated into 4 pulses. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, 1/8, 1/8, 1/16, 1/16, 1/16, 1/16. Because the 4th beat consists of 4 1/16 notes, it needs to be split into 4 accents. Instead of counting the 4th beat as 4, you need to count it as 4 E and Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2, play an 1/8 note for the 3 count, play an 1/8 note for the and count, play a 16th note for the 4, 16th note for E, 16th note for and, 16th note for The total beats is 4 beats. Here is rhythm 1 applied to the D or second position. Rhythm 2 is a combination of quarter, 1/8, 1/8, 16th, 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 quarter. There are 4 16th notes in the space of the 3 count, so it is split up into 4 accents, 3 E and Hold the quarter note for the 1 count, hold an 1/8 note for the 2 count, hold an 1/8 note for the and count, 16th note for 3, 16th note for E, 16th note for and, 16th note for Then play a quarter note for the 4 count. Total beats equals 4. Here is rhythm 2 applied to the E or third position. By simple definition, a technique is a way to manipulate a note and make it sound different. To be able to play notes is one thing, but to move a listener, or even yourself as a player, you need to do more than just play a note. You need to give it life. Although there is no substitute for soul, learning and using techniques will certainly help you achieve the status quicker. The techniques offered on this video are intended to give life to your music. As I progressed as a musician, I began to realize that a single note is just as important, if not more important, than any group of notes. Give your music life. Give each note you play an emotion. When you play the notes in this course, listen for an emotion or feeling. They are not predetermined. There is no wrong or right emotion. It is open to what you hear and feel. This is what music is, and this is your journey to become a better musician. For the double picking technique, we're simply going to pick each note twice. The palm mute is achieved by resting the palm of your picking hand on the string you are picking. You can also use your pinky as an extension of your palm to mute higher strings, if your palm doesn't cover all of the strings. You can alter the duration of the note you are playing by moving your palm closer or farther from the bridge while playing a note. The symbol for the palm mute is a P period, M period, followed by a dotted line. The dotted line will extend for as long as you are required to apply the palm mute. Notice the break on the third measure where the B note on the third string, second fret, is not palm muted. This combination is written in 4/4 timing using triplets and 16th notes. Here we are playing increments of 3, double picking and palm muting, then increments of 4, double picking and palm muting. Vibrato is excellent for building finger strength. It is achieved by continuously bending a note and returning it to its original pitch. To apply this technique, allow your thumb of your playing hand to hang over the neck of your bass above your middle finger. Use the appropriate playing finger to hold the note you want to play, and bend or shake the string by twisting your forearm. Do not bend your wrist, and do not bend the string by bending your fingers. What you want to do is hold the note and just rotate your hand or rotate your wrist. You may find it difficult to apply vibrato with your pinky. If so, substitute those notes with your ring finger by sliding it up to whichever note you want to play and apply the vibrato technique. The vibrato technique is difficult to achieve on the first string of most bass guitars, so don't worry too much if you can't get it to shake on the first string. We'll start out very slow, exaggerating the bending of each note, and as you build up strength and build up speed, eventually vibrato will become second nature to you. Here it is applied to the C position, first at 80 BPM, then 160. Passing tones are non-scale notes played between scale notes. So between C and D, you have a passing tone on the 9th fret. Passing tones may not sound desirable out of sequence, but they can be used to connect two scale notes together. In this exercise, the initials P period, T period have been placed above each passing tone. Here it is at 120 BPM. Play this exercise at a slow pace, holding each note for a 4 count, bending the string for each count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eventually you'll build up enough speed and the vibrato with passing tones will become second nature. The hammer-on technique is achieved by picking a note, then hammering a higher fret on the same string with your free fingers to produce another note without picking again. For example, play the 3rd string, 5th fret with your first finger, picking only once. Then using the tip of your 3rd finger, hammer onto the 7th fret without picking that note. You can control the sound level of your hammer-on by how hard or how soft you apply this technique. Here is an exercise that combines hammer-ons with passing tones and gives us a very rapid-sounding musical movement. There is a slide at the end of the first 2 measures. The symbol for a slide is a slash with an SL above it. Slides are achieved by sliding your finger up or down the fretboard while holding a note. In the piece below, slide the 11th fret notes to the 12th fret on the 4th and 3rd string. This combo gets a little tricky if you're not careful. The first measure is simple enough. Pick the first note, then hammer to the next 2. In the second measure, you pick the 3rd fret and hammer to the 5th fret. Then you have to pick the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. For the 3rd measure, return to pick the 5th fret of the 4th string, then pick the 2nd fret on the 3rd string and hammer to the 3rd fret. Take this technique and application combo slow at first, and once you get used to it, you'll find that you can achieve some lightning fast runs. The names of the notes and the fingerings for these positions are the same as you have learned in section 3 of this video. The only difference is they are played 1 octave or 12 frets higher in pitch. To help you learn these new positions, try combining them with other scale positions in the natural scale. Also, try them out with your favorite rhythms, techniques, and applications. The opposite of a hammer-on, pull-offs are achieved by picking a fretted note, then pulling the finger that you are using to fret that note away from the fretboard at a 45-degree angle, producing a lower pitched note on the same string without picking it. The note being produced by the pull-off can be fretted or open. For this combination, pick a note only when you change strings. Use the hammer-ons and pull-offs for all of the same string notes. Again, a slide is achieved by fretting a note and sliding it without releasing pressure. You can slide up or down in pitch. Here we'll take the increments of 3 application, but apply it to one string and mix it in with the slide technique. So we'll start with the open A, go to B and C for 3 increments, then back to B on the 2nd fret, up 3 notes, back 1, back 1. This combination is great for working your way up and down the fretboard. By sliding to a 4th note on each string, you are moving up or down to the next scale position. This can be a great exercise to get to know the fretboard. Instead of starting on the 4th string for an ascending run, start with an open note on the 3rd or 2nd string. You can also move up to 5 or 6 notes for each string before moving to the next scale position. For a descending run, start above the 17th fret on the 2nd or 3rd string. The most obvious place to start a bass guitar solo is on the root note. But you can really spice up your leads by starting with a harmony note. For example, if you are starting a lead or a solo over a G chord, the obvious starting note would be a G note. However, you can make your leads more interesting by starting off on other root notes that make up the G chord, G, B, or D. And remember, you're playing in a key based on your scale. Any scale note will fit in a passing sequence. Most will work if you hold them for a duration. Just stay within the scale and you'll always be safe. If by chance you do land on a note that sounds off, quickly slide, hammer, or pull off to play the next scale note and you'll be just fine. This technique is limited to the electric bass guitar, giving it a violin or cello type sound. It is achieved by playing a note with your bass guitar's volume knob on off. Then increase the volume while holding the note. You can also use vibrato. And you can also incorporate higher notes. Music is made up of more than just notes. Sometimes the lack of a note can make a piece stand out. Just as there are symbols for the notes that you play, there are also symbols for the times when you don't play notes. These symbols are called rests. There are rest symbols for every note symbol. Here is a comparison chart for notes and their equal rests. In the first 2 measures, we have a whole note and a whole rest. Next are half notes and half rests, then quarter notes and quarter rests. Here are 1/8 notes and 1/8 rests, and 16th notes and 16th rests. Here are some basic rhythms combining notes and rests. Repeat each rhythm over and over again until you are comfortable playing it. At first, apply each rhythm to one note. When you can play a rhythm smoothly, then apply it to chords and multiple scale notes. Damping is used to end the duration of a note being played. One way to achieve the damping effect is to hold the note and play it, and then lightly release the pressure of the note so that it stops ringing out. Another way to achieve the damping effect is to play the note, and with your free fingers of the playing hand, mute the string. Or you play the note, and with your picking hand, mute the string. So there are a lot of different ways that you can achieve the damping effect.